I'm sure you've also heard every excuse in the book in terms of why you shouldn't do luxury real estate, or what are the most common myths that you hear?
Yeah, and I have these on the screen right now for you. So I call them limiting beliefs, but I would call these the biggest misconceptions that agents have about selling luxury. Number one is you need to be a top producing agent or have gray hair or be licensed X amount of years before you can sell luxury. That's false. You personally need to be wealthy or come from wealth to sell luxury. False. Or you need to live in that gated community or live in, Highland Park in Dallas or South Lake or West Lake or in Woodlands or whatever it is in Austin or some of these other markets. Those are all false. You got to drive that Maserati. False. You personally need to be with a certain office. That's false. I tell this story all the time, Tony. So last July of 2021, I was on a listing appointment, and it was a former CEO of Office Max. It was a $3 million appointment. I got the call from him late. He had already interviewed a couple agents, and I knew I was switching offices at the time for my team. I run a small team here in the Chicagoland market. I'm with EXP. And at the time he said, well, tell me about, I was at Properties, which is a great company. They're number one in Chicagoland in luxury. He said, tell me a little bit about ad, or why you don't have a lot of stuff about ad on your website. And literally I couldn't in good faith hype up a company that I knew I was leaving in 2 weeks. I just didn't feel like that was being genuine to him. So I just said, hey, I have to let you know, Robbie, I am switching companies here in a few weeks. And I had no collateral about the company I was moving to, EXP. I had nothing. He asked me what does EXP stood for, and I couldn't even answer that. He ended up hiring me. It was the highest single family home of EXP in the state of Illinois at the time. And I wasn't even with the company. I had no collateral. And so that's just a good reminder to everybody listening that whether you're with EXP, XYZ, Coldwell Banker, doesn't matter. You are your brand at the end of the day. You should not have to rely on your company or your company's luxury division to go after those opportunities. That's a limiting belief. You have to think that you are your brand, powered by whoever, right? But you are the brand, okay? And you have to think that one. And then the other one that is a big misconception, Tony, is, hey, I'm in South Lake and there's already 87 luxury agents that are recognized. There's no room for 88. Or, hey, I'm in the Woodlands and there's 376 luxury agents in the Woodlands. There's certainly not room for 377. That's false as well. You own your story. You tell your own story. I do these luxury trainings all across the country. I had a gal at my one that I did in Miami in April, and she was, really stunning, well-spoken, dressed really like she was luxury. And she said, well, Mike, she goes, as a woman and a woman of color, I have a lot more entries of barrier than perhaps you do. And she's right. But I said, take that background and use it as a positive in this case. So I don't care if you're white, you're black, you're female, you're trans, whatever it is, take your story and leverage it and turn a perceived possible negative into a positive. So I worked with her right there on the spot, because she said, what if I was up against Johnny Rockstar, an agent who dominated luxury in that marketplace, and I did not have those sales. I didn't have the track record of selling luxury homes like they did. I said I would turn it into a positive, like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thanks for, interviewing me. I know you're interviewing another agent that really specializes in this price point or this neighborhood. And, I've had to prove myself my entire career as a female, as a woman of color, or as whatever it is, fill in the blank. As a newer agent, I've had to prove myself. And you give me the opportunity and the same work ethic I've taken to build my business, to overcome the obstacles I've had, to fill in the blank, whatever the fill in the blanks are, use that in your story. Don't shy away from it. And so, listen, when you interview me and you hire me, you're going to get me. You're not going to get an assistant to an assistant. You're not going to have some agent run over there, open the house that doesn't know the house because the other agent's too busy. You're going to get me. And so that's my recommendation. Turn a perceived negative into a positive. I tell agents, if you're a solo agent, bring somebody in your office even if they're not on your team on that listing appointment. If you're a female, bring a male. If you're a male, bring a female. If you're a younger agent, bring a more experienced agent. I tell agents 100% of nothing is nothing, but 50% of something is something. So if you have to co-list a property, I have an agent right now marketing a Trump Tower in downtown Chicago. It's 1.8 million. She went to my luxury designation training. It's 50-50. She saw the opportunity. 50% of getting a Trump listing in the Trump Tower in the city is a big luxury building, is 50% of opportunity versus 100%. I might not bring Michael, but I might not get it. So think differently. Look just like the mentorship program that many companies have, right? The mentorship program. You're a new agent, you got to give up a piece of the pie because you're going to have a mentor. So think about luxury as who can be your mentor as well.
So no excuses, if I'm hearing you right. No excuses. No. Get over the excuses. If you got to dye your own hair gray, dye your hair gray. If they want somebody, get some salt and pepper going, grow a beard, right? Whatever it is. So I love that